And that describes to me a very wide and diverse set of stakeholders that you deal with. And there might, of course, be a very different set of priorities each one of these stakeholders would have. That would lead to very different mindsets and
Mhm.
politics. How do you deal with that? How do you succeed in an environment where there is politics of leadership coming from different stakeholders?
If I go back to the original sort of meaning of the word politics, it's really about a group of people working together and being able to get things done together. Over time, it's come to have a bit of a connotation of not being nice, but I prefer to think of it in its original meaning. And when you think of it in the original meaning, the question that then follows is, what is it that the other group that you're working with needs? Why do they need it? And can you see a way to say, well, actually, I can give them some or part of what it is that they need if I can flex a bit, or if I can go down the path with them a bit, or alternatively, no, that can't work. As long as you can put yourself in the shoes of the other people, firstly. I think then secondly, separating the basis for any decision from the decision itself. By that I mean, it's really important when you do have the differences of views, and you will have differences of views. If you have really smart people who are well intentioned and you put them in the same room, it's highly unlikely they'll agree. So you should expect divergence. And you can work your way through that if you first of all agree, what are the principles we're going to work to here? It might be our principle is to satisfy this set of customers because that's the highest, the most profitable segment for us. It might be that come what may, we're always going to invest in cybersecurity because a cyber incident is just not a good day at the office. But agree the set of principles. And interestingly, I've found over my career, most people will get to yes on set of principles. Then you can go to the next stage and say, given the decision which is at hand here, how does that stack up against the principles? And here's why I think it stacks up this way, but I'm interested in hearing what you think and whether you agree or whether you have a different perspective. And then the task becomes, how do you get people back to the principle? And once you do that, people can see that actually you're very transparent. You're not trying to play games. You're trying just to maximize the set of things that we set out to try and maximize. Or alternatively, you may agree we get down a path, say that's no longer the set of principles we want to operate to. We want to operate with a different set of principles, which is fine. But as long as people can see you engage in that process, then most of the time I've found you can find a way through. But it requires you to be thoughtful, and it requires you often to keep your mouth shut and let people talk and let themselves come towards you rather than you trying to force your way toward.
No, I have no words. You gave us a masterclass right there. You talked about focusing on the needs of all of the stakeholders. You talked about deciding a framework of principles that matter to resolving those differences. And you talked about listening rather than just saying your thing. I think if you have those characteristics present, you can lead the way. You can certainly find a way through the differences. Thank you for that, Scott. I think our listeners would really appreciate that masterclass.